Well, good morning, and it is still morning. Yeah, it is. Thanks, John, for that very gracious introduction and very generous introduction. Distinguished invitees of the United States Geospatial Intelligence Foundation, thanks very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. As you can imagine, replacing Assistant Secretary Lumpkin is really no small task. A 20-year Navy SEAL, an accomplished leader, and a public servant. I have my work cut out for me this morning, I think. Michael actually truly regrets not being able to attend and be with you here today. He was very much looking forward to this forum and addressing you all, since he's been a longtime consumer of and actually has personally benefited from geospatial intelligence, both as a former SEAL officer and also now as the senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense on special operations policy. For my part, having spent all of my 28 years in the civil service working in either the intelligence or the defense communities, and having just come to my new role as Michael's deputy from 3.5 years as the National Intelligence Officer for Africa, I too can say that I am intimately aware of how we have used each of the intelligence disciplines to prosecute the CT fight. I've witnessed the exceptional work of the intelligence community in this complex and complicated mission area for almost 2 decades now. And I would be remiss not to say that GEOINT, in particular, has played an absolutely crucial role in making U.S. SOF the very best in the world. In the course of the hand-in-glove operational and intelligence work that has spanned over a decade in 2 theaters, SOF operators and battle space owners have come to expect premier intelligence collection, data, and all-source analysis that paint a very clear picture of the battle space. In large part, our intelligence resources, GEOINT chief among them, have not only increased our battlefield effectiveness, but have also fundamentally changed the way we do business, both in the field and among decision makers right here in Washington. As our tactics, operations, and strategies have matured, so too have our relationships. And I believe that the relationships between the intelligence community, the operators, and the policymaking communities are more productive now than ever. But of course, as we have matured, so too have our enemies. I think we all acknowledge the increasingly sophisticated space of today's globalized world and the host of non-state actors that operate within it. However, we face another, more worrisome array of state-based adversaries as well. The current security environment is increasingly characterized by challenging and often zero-sum state-to-state dynamics. Consider that in the state-to-state game, the stakes can be far higher than the CT fight we've been waging. In fact, they're potentially existential. The opponents are well-resourced and practiced. They operate in the grayest of spaces, and they are less constrained by rule of law and deliberative consensus-based governance. As just one example, in March of last year, we witnessed Russia brazenly occupy Crimea and proceed to engage in a carefully executed campaign of hybrid tactics in eastern Ukraine. We have seen pro-Russian separatists encouraged by Russia, financed by Russia, trained by Russia, supplied by Russia, and armed by Russia. And Russian aggression doesn't stop in the Ukraine. It's impossible to ignore Russia's near non-stop naval exercises in the Baltic Sea and regular trips into Baltic airspace with military planes. In this rapidly evolving and complex threat environment, there is some comfort to be found, though, in the capabilities and relationships that we have honed during the last 14 years. So today, I'd like to offer 2 main points. First, that a collateral benefit of the intense CT fight in Iraq and Afghanistan is a finely tuned, hand-in-glove GEOINT and SOF relationship, and that this relationship will be critical to leverage as we deal with newly emerging state-based challenges. Let me begin with how we got here, with what I would call the traditional problem set of counterterrorism. As you well know, good intelligence is central to our national security advantage and is our first line of defense. It enables decisional advantage, tactically, operationally, and strategically. Against this backdrop, U.S. SOF continued to undertake operations against terrorist organizations, and to great effect. Beyond direct action, many of those forces are doing critical work building the capacity of our partners to conduct their own operations as well. To accomplish these missions, SOF depends on the resources of the intelligence community, in which GEOINT plays a crucial role. These capabilities achieve twin objectives. They find our enemies, and they help keep our troops safe. Imagery is enormously powerful, worth 1,000 words, as they say. GEOINT's unique role in maximizing the situational awareness on the battlefield, SOF stabilization operations, and fixing targets cannot be overstated. As many of the practitioners in this room know, over the course of the wars, we've refined our technology and ability to layer imagery with data from other intelligence disciplines, HUMINT, SIGINT, MASINT, etc. And we created a new expertise in geospatial collection and analysis, which has really been nothing short of groundbreaking. As geospatial intelligence and its inextricable role in SOF CT operations gained steam in Afghanistan and Iraq, real-time imagery became a crushing advantage. With obfuscations like human deception or code words in communications fairly easily overcome, we are now able to convey information that is both reliable and uniquely capable of filling gaps from other intelligence disciplines to warfighters and policymakers with incredible speed. But again, as we have evolved, so too has the enemy. The enemy has become more savvy in their operational security and has built networks, both virtual and physical, that challenge our standard ways of doing business. If we think the challenges in the CT realm have been daunting, we should buckle up for the rise of the near-peer competitors and the highly complex security environment that comes with great power competition. The demand for seamless, real-time, world-class intelligence extends well beyond SOF CT fight. Let me tell you how I see us addressing the emerging state-to-state challenges, aided by the critical advancements and relationships built between the GEOINT and broader intelligence communities and SOF. We are bearing witness to, and to a large extent have already experienced, a transition from a unipolar world to a multipolar world. Numerous nation states are developing highly sophisticated intelligence and operational capabilities, and not all of them are friendly actors. Some will be aggressors, generating asymmetric threats and operating outside the norms of international law, as we've already touched on. Some of these threats, whether in Europe or Asia or elsewhere, will upset a balance of power fundamental to global security. And some have and will continue to direct their aggression pointedly towards the United States. In many ways, we are in a back-to-the-future mode. We're confronting variations on Cold War challenges, but with a more sophisticated set of adversaries. Fortunately, we are also a better positioned opponent. We've touched on Russia briefly, but I would also point to East Asia as an example of an environment to which we must adapt. As it stands now, East Asia is the most militarized area of the world. The advanced strategic weaponry there, coupled with the sheer size of the region, presents stark realities for U.S. basing and power projection. We are also talking about militaries and state services in these countries that have extremely sophisticated indications and warning systems in place, and very mature intelligence services. In this environment, we are working in multiple contested domains: maritime, air, cyber, space, to name just a few. This evolving problem set requires some very creative solutions if we want to replicate the same level of dominance that we have had in the CT fight. The demands for a level of situational awareness to which policymakers and military planners alike have become accustomed will not slow down. Ultimately, it will be both the capabilities and relationships that have been honed over the course of the wars, that refined GEOINT soft integration, that can provide solutions to offset the near-peer competitor asymmetric threat vectors. In order to adapt to this new reality, particularly if we want to replicate the same level of dominance that we've had in the CT fight, we need to synchronize efforts across domains and begin to think creatively about how to use our most unique national assets. SOF is, of course, just one tool in the toolkit. Our success has created new demands. I think we can all agree the demands for near-perfect situational awareness, both from commanders and policymakers, are insatiable and are here to stay. As policymakers and thought leaders, we must consider how to leverage our relationships against the evolving state-based problem sets. I want to leave you with some closing thoughts. I genuinely believe there is great opportunity here. One of the soft truths is that people and partnerships matter. This couldn't be more true as we add to the traditional problem set of CT a new era of highly advanced, multipolar, state-based threats. The collateral benefit of all those years of high operational tempo and sustained combat in Afghanistan and Iraq, as well as other areas outside the declared theaters of active armed conflict, have built relationships that will enable this critical evolution. The SOF community will have to ensure that it can contribute to the national strategy by readying itself for the state-to-state challenges we are already facing. Although the security situation is in flux, I'm confident that the exceptional professionals in the all-source and most certainly the geospatial intelligence community will also evolve to meet our nation's emerging requirements. Thanks very much for your time this morning.